Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jared Moon here. Welcome to Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Joe is with me. What's up, Joe?
As always.
And we have Johnny Sugrue, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah, I got that name in there properly. Didn't even mess it up. It's not Surge, as Joe.
I like Surge. I like Johnny Surge better.
Johnny Surge. It's like your Garage Gym Athlete superpower name.
Yeah, dude.
Or super person. There we go. All right, let's get into it, man. We've chatted on the phone before. You've been around Garage Gym Athlete for a while, so I'm really excited to get into this and talk to you and hear more about your story and what you have going on. But let's get some basic intro stuff, man. Just give us all the basics: who you are, what you do, how you train.
Yeah, so my name is Johnny Sugrue, or Johnny Surge, if that's
what we're doing.
And, I don't at the moment do anything. I was a pastor for about 10 years and recently made a transition away from that, and just been in a bit of a rebuilding phase of what's next. And so exploring some passions and stuff, I decided to go into a bit of a fitness realm for work and finish my personal training certificate, and working toward a couple other certifications as well. And I'm about to start an internship at I don't want to call it a CrossFit gym because it's like a bad word, but
it's not a bad word. We don't hate CrossFit.
No, it's I think it's actually pretty in line with GGA stuff. Like it's CrossFit-ish, but with a bit more focus on form and technique and doing the movements properly instead of just quickly. And so I'm excited. The guy down there, he's a good coach and pretty excited to mentor me. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then just spending lots and lots of time with my kids, which has been really nice. So
that's awesome, man. And just so you set the record straight on the podcast. So my best friend here in Dallas he owns a CrossFit gym. He owned multiple locations and he moved to one bigger location. So I'm not a CrossFit hater. The only CrossFitters I hate on are the ones that hate on me.
Oh, okay.
And that's probably just through social media trolling, but I get a lot of hate from the CrossFit community. So I push back a little bit, but there are a lot of CrossFit boxes doing phenomenal things with programming and focus and all that other stuff. So I love all realms of fitness.
All types of fitness.
Except for
CrossFit extremists.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Anything that can potentially make you unhealthy or injured, which I think powerlifting can drive you down that phase. So that's the only one I truly give a hard time, just as a sport in and of itself. But
sure.
All right, rabbit hole and clarification done, man. So you are in your garage gym right now.
I am.
Awesome things that I don't have already. So let's hear about your garage gym setup, your equipment, and everything you have.
Yeah. So about a year and a half ago, I started putting this thing together, and really had no plan whatsoever. I like doing woodworking stuff, and so I actually found a couple DIY things and started out with a plyo box and a slam ball that I got at Winners. And little by little, over the last little bit, it's evolved. Now I've got a bench and squat rack and whatnot. This squat rack behind me, so there's a kind of like a half rack, I guess. I picked up a sled not too long ago. from a guy who is actually the guy that I'm going to be training with. He was selling off a bunch of his equipment, so I got that. Dip bar, kind of makeshift GHD with the plyo box, and then I got this little foam attachment that goes into the dip station that I rigged.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think I remember sharing that on Instagram, and a lot of people liked it a lot.
Yeah, it works well. It's nice because with the bar on the wall, you can adjust the height. So depending on if I got a buddy working out with me, he can just pop it up and change the height, and it's kind of nice. I'd like to get a second one for the bottom so your feet are really wedged in there, but it's pretty good. I got a couple pair of those adjustable dumbbells, some hex bells, barbell stuff. I got my big heavy bag there from boxing days. Rower. I just picked up a bunch of new tires and treadmill.
I follow you on Instagram, stalk you a little bit, but I saw the tires. You picked up 2 huge tractor tires. It looks like.
Yeah, well, I actually ended up picking up 4.
Nice.
One for indoor, and my wife is really gracious. She has allowed me to have the whole 2-car garage, and so got lots of space in here. And so she's cool like that. I got a tire for inside, and then in the backyard, I just got a 300 and a 500 pound tire.
Inside and outside tires. That's
outside tires.
That's my indoor tire.
Yeah.
Or front yard tire or whatever. So,
yeah.
You also just glanced over the pegboard.
I used to do. I had a small tire that I used for not tire flipping. It was just like an actual like smaller truck tire that I used to put kettlebells in and would drag.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that, and it used to be my son's flip. He would
that was awesome.
And I'd walk him through that. Now, one thing I don't think you mentioned it, or maybe you did briefly, the pegboard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You have a pegboard, man. That thing looks
Staring
awesome.
us in the face.
Yeah. So I got the pegboard there, and then I made this little climbing thing that attaches to the ceiling. Those are more for my son. We really like watching American Ninja Warrior, and so he likes to play around on that stuff. And I thought it was a good idea, but the ceiling's not really tall enough for an adult to do it. But it's might have to go sideways or something.
Yeah, you can put it sideways. I've seen that before. It makes it a little bit more challenging to go that direction. That's pretty cool. Did you make it or buy it?
I made it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
It was, I looked on the website, the Rogue website, and it was for us Canadians, it was going to cost something like $300 to buy and ship one out, and it cost me $12 to use what I had in my garage. So.
God.
And I did not know the DIY project was that easy. I'm gonna have to. I just never even thought about it. It makes sense. You're just boring some holes and then get the pegs. Like that's not too terribly difficult.
A drill press stand so that all the holes go in straight. But other than that, it's just basic tools.
No, I'll eyeball it.
Yeah, man. All sorts of angles.
They move a little bit, but it's good. Yeah. Cool. So what was the big reason? You said you've been building up for about a year and a half. What was the big reason for starting a garage gym and getting going?
Well, it started out kind of accidentally. Like I worked inside of West Edmonton Mall as a chaplain, and there's a gym there. It's a big box gym, and it was like $10 a month. So it was a pretty sweet deal. And that started out my engagement with weightlifting as fitness. I've always been active, but never really weightlifting as sort of the key factor. So I started there, and I would go down there on lunch breaks. But as things started getting busier and busier, lunch breaks stopped happening, and it would either be before work or after work. And work itself was always pretty flexible. I'd usually start out thinking I had an 8-hour shift, and I'd be there for 10, 15 hours, and depending on who walks in and what they need. And so the time I had on both ends of work was getting smaller and smaller. And so I picked up some Canadian Tire, just the barbell itself screwed together in the middle with a little Allen key thing, so you can tell the quality right there. And I had just a few weights on the ends, and I started out with it in my basement so I could lift a little bit while watching TV. And little by little, my stuff started to accumulate, and my wife was like, could you take this outside?
Yeah, and you have the full garage gym now. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's good. It was kind of a time necessity thing for me.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, what's been the your favorite part of training at home?
Well, a couple things. One, my kids, they walk in, they love the rings, man. They love that. My son will join me for different things. He's only 6, but he'll join me for runs, and we have like a perfect 1 kilometer loop from our door around the neighborhood and back. And so he'll join me for the first kilometer out of a run, and then he'll go back inside. It's been good family wise for my kids to see fitness and all that. So I'm excited for them to grow into being able to participate a little bit more over the years. And then secondly, I think buddies just being able to use my space. And the rack behind me was a buddy of mine. He's been over fairly often, and we kept competing for squat rack space and time. And so he was like, hey, why don't we go in on a second one? And so we threw that in. And so a little bit of a community is developed around my garage, which is pretty nice. So
that's always awesome. Yeah, if you can pull it off, that's great, man. And you're taking up the whole space, so you have plenty of room. Do you have any flooring in there, just out of my own curiosity?
Yeah, I got puzzle mats, which I got for free from someone who was redoing their basement. And so it's not the highest quality, but then under the racks, I've got horse stall mats, and then another horse stall mat in between that I'm going to turn into a platform.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
And what are some of your goals right now in being a garage gym athlete?
Right now, so your goal thing, the goals email thing, my goal is coming back from an injury, just to get back, to not quit, to get back to a place where I'm lifting what I was lifting before. I had a SI ligament injury, where the ligament got stretched beyond what it should have been. And so all the muscles around it tensed right up, and just doesn't really seem to matter what I've been doing, other than a bit of SMR has been helping. But just getting back from injury is my goal. And doing it, in a sustainable way. So I'm that person who's like, whatever, it hurts, I'm still going to go try. And so I'm trying to play that mental game of go slow and steady and build everything around it, do the stretching. So
PT was probably my best decision I made this year, because I started my own PT because I was having pinching pains in my back and hip area, and even in my hip flexor now. But like after 4 months, I was, every time I'd squat, I could get through the weight, but I was still feeling all of this pain. It just wasn't right. But now just this week I was hitting 90% and I felt fine. And it's like, it's better to take a few steps back now so that I can keep moving forward later, versus just it getting worse and worse and then being out even longer. So that's the whole, listen to your body and get help when you can and should. And also, the earlier you get help, the less you're gonna have to work, because after a while your body will adapt to making bad habits, and then you have to recorrect bad habits, and that's just the worst.
Yeah, and it's going from like acute to chronic, right? You don't want, something happens. Like I always give everything a time frame, like at least a month. If I have my knees feeling weird, or like my elbow or my shoulder or whatever, and I don't mean just like a month sitting around doing nothing. Like I'll try some of my home remedies, mobility, stretching, just from my own experience and knowledge, and try and take care of it. And then after that point, if it's still bothering me, that's when it's like, okay, I should probably see somebody about this. And so how long has your recovery journey been so far?
I injured myself just at the beginning of this cycle. And the chiropractor is telling me that it's an injury from way back that's just kind of reared its ugly head again. And so, I'll take his word for it, I guess. But the pain itself has been about 2.5 months. And,
okay.
So it's last year I did a triathlon, and that area seized up in the middle of that. And so it went away entirely and just came back at the beginning of this cycle. So I've been taking it easy.
That's cool, man. So triathlon, not the injury's cool, but it's cool that you did a triathlon last year. It sounds like you've been in a lot of different areas of fitness. You started lifting and got some pretty good numbers on lifting, and then triathlon. So just tell me a little bit more about that journey, where over the last, how many ever years it's been, you've been into fitness.
Yeah. Well, like in high school, I played basketball and volleyball, ironically, tall people sports. I'm like 5.5 feet tall. But
my wife also played in college, and she's like 5'1". She was the libero or whatever. So she's just the person that sets it up. So
cool.
You're not alone.
There's a spot for everyone. It's good. So it started with that. I've always really been into running and that sort of stuff. Growing up on the island, I did a lot of surfing, which is definitely an upper body workout, paddling out, getting thrashed around, I guess total body when you're getting thrashed around by the waves. Last year before, backtrack, for about 5 years before my son was born, I was doing MMA. So I did that. I was in the gym probably 4 or 5 days a week. And my wife was saying, once our son's born, you're not going to want to be out there all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he was born, and I basically dropped everything. And just like, there's a baby. And so I took a bit of a hiatus and gained a whole bunch of weight, and then decided I was going to try a Spartan race. And so I signed up for one of those, and that started kind of the new era for me of fitness and whatnot. So
that's awesome. How was the Spartan race?
It was good. It was fun. It was just a sprint. I did not too bad. It was, I think, 2,500 people, and I got 117th. So it was fun. I want to do better this year, though. I'm doing a sprint and a super, and hoping for good time.
Nice. So you got some stuff lined up later this year. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so you have one son?
I have one son and one daughter.
One daughter. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about fitness and kids. Just have you found it difficult squeezing things in, or better? Like how has that been going for you?
Good. I think the big impact of kids is sleep. My daughter, she I do most of my working out in the morning, and my daughter, almost 4 years old, still comes into our bedroom a few times a night. We're struggling with that. She likes to kick. She likes to lay on mommy and kick me the whole night. So it's pretty fun. Makes 5 a.m. wake ups for a workout a little bit of a mental toughness challenge, but it's that's probably the biggest impact on me in the challenge side of things. I think just having them around, having them see me working out, having them, I don't want to get lazy because I want to set a good tone for them. So it's a good motivator for me. Seeing my son he's starting to play soccer. So we go down to the field and I do some SAQ drills and stuff with him. And like I said, we'll go for runs together. And he's actually doing a Spartan kids race this summer. And so he's elbowing me going, Dad, when are we going to go train? And I've been hearing that word from him, is like, he just wants to train for it. So he's doing burpees and he's doing little crunches, and he can get a full pull up in now, which is good. And so we're working on that. It's fun, man. I love it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think so. I've got my son. I've had to slow him down. My oldest, he's 7 now. He's always he wants to do the cooler stuff now. I guess that's right at the age, he used to just hang out and do, swing on the rings and all this other stuff. And now he's like, no, come on, let me lift the heavy kettlebell. I'm like, dude, just relax. So I've been doing the same thing that you're talking about, take him on a portion of the run and then drop him off and then go a little bit longer, or on my cool down bike rides, he joins me almost every day now. So cool. It is really cool having your kids involved and seeing that. I think it's really important.
Totally.
All right, man, how do you like training in your garage? I think we kind of answered that one, but
yeah, I like it. I like it. I like I can set my own pace. I was just listening to an interview that you did, getting in the mindset for this thing, and they were just saying, they like being able to try new things and not be stared at funny, and I like that too. It's fun being able to, on big lifts, yell as loud as you want.
Right.
And that's totally fine. You're not going to get kicked out. You might get, chewed out a little bit for waking up the kids, but it's, other than that, it's kind of up to you how intense you're going to get and what you're going to try. So I enjoy that a lot. I like having it right available to me when I need it. So that's good too.
Yeah, and the underwear, right? You can work out in your underwear. It's always a plus.
Yeah, man. I promise I'm wearing pants right now. There have been a few underwear sessions.
That I won't tell you what I'm wearing or not wearing right now. It's a chest up interview, so I didn't think that pants were required. All right. What is the hardest workout you've ever done?
Hardest workout I've ever done. So I went to school. My diploma is in outdoor leadership. We had Wednesday morning PT. And so we get up at 4 a.m. and head to the rec center. And our PT leader, he put us through these different circuits and whatnot, but they were weird. Like you'd be fully dressed in your mountaineering gear, and you get to the pool, and he'd be like, "Okay, you're gonna swing out on this rope, swim to this other rope, climb up, cross a ladder, drop back into the pool, hold your breath underwater, come back up, swim the rest of the pool. You have to climb and dive and throw your pack and all that kind of stuff." It was pretty fun. And
sounds like fun.
It was tiring. Like you definitely didn't come out of those workouts without bleeding hands and a little bit of pain, but it was fun, and it was very hard. You definitely wanted to quit. There were a few pool deck throw ups that I don't want to talk too much about, but
where are those fitness events and how can I sign up?
Was that?
So where are those fitness events and how can I sign up? I feel like that's like put Spartan to shame a little bit.
I mean, it's fun. It's expensive though. It was an expensive program, but definitely worth it. It was cool. Yeah.
I mean, Joe, there are programs in the United States military that you're probably still eligible for age-wise if you want to. I've heard
just
that
to go through some torture.
I've heard that Buds is accepting new candidates if you're interested. All right, man. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
For me, it was getting in the habit of mornings. I've always been a stay up late at night type person, and wake up whenever like 5 minutes before you need to get to work. And so that's been probably the biggest mental toughness challenge for me is just mornings. I guess over the last couple of months, staying with some of my nutrition stuff, staying with, I haven't been perfect, but sticking with that, trying to adapt my exercise during injury. That's been a bit of a mental toughness stretch for me because I'm an all or nothing person. So just having that mental space of like, don't go crazy. But yeah, those two, probably mental pacing during an injury and waking up early in the morning.
So waking up early, would you say that you've transitioned from being the waking up 5 minutes before you needed to do something to fully being the morning guy, or still on the journey?
Yes, still on the journey. I don't love it. I don't love getting up super early. It's a lot easier when I got a buddy coming over to meet me in the morning, and I'm like, I gotta open the garage for him, and I gotta be there. Something just clicks in my head, and I'm like, I can do it. But especially now, being between work, where I don't really have anywhere I need to be, that's challenging. Getting up at 5 a.m. even though you don't have to. Is a bit different. So I'd say I was doing great, but the last couple of months I've been sleeping in a little bit and trying to re-establish that routine. So
cool, man. Yeah, I just like to hear people's take. Joe's waking up early now. Everyone's just like on that early train. It's awesome.
Yeah, I find the bedtime to be even harder. It's I know
it's forcing yourself to go to sleep when you're not like really that tired. Yeah,
that's it.
That's got to be the hardest transition. Joe, what time do you go to bed?
I'm usually like heading toward bed at about 8 o'clock, but I also read for about an hour in bed. So like, yeah,
that's
pretty early, but
yeah,
kind of gets me in the bedtime mood if I read for an hour. So that at about just after 9 o'clock, I'm putting the book down and actually sleeping or going to sleep.
So how about you, Johnny? When are you hitting the sack?
No, I don't want to talk about it. After that, man, after getting to bed at 8 and reading till 9 and going to sleep, mine just sounds pathetic. I like Netflix. I'm not gonna lie. So that's my big hurdle is get in bed at a decent time, and I'll watch an episode of something, and that it gives you 14 seconds to decide how important your next hour is going to be. It's usually I fail there, so probably 10:30 is probably the average.
Got it, man. Yeah, and Netflix has that autoplay thing going on that's relatively new. Like when it's happened. It's just like it starts autoplaying almost like a preview, but then some of them, if you watch it too long, it just turns into it starting.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys had that happen? I'm like, what is
it? And what? I'm still watching this?
I didn't even hit a button. Like, what did you do? That's pretty intense. All right, man, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I think barbell. I have a lot of fun with that. Again, with my injury, the biggest thing that I've had to let go of is doing heavy weights, and I miss it a lot. And so I think for, just having lost it and realizing how much I want it back, I think that's pointed that out for me is the barbell for sure.
You already got a bunch of fun stuff in your garage, but if you could get one more piece of equipment, no matter how much it costs, what would it be?
I think my favorite answer is Trampus's answer with the 40 extra acres.
That was a pretty winning one.
Yeah. Won with that one. Yeah.
There you go. But if I couldn't have that, then probably either an Aerodyne or I was thinking about this morning, Aerodyne or
Skier.
What's that?
Skier?
No, that new Rogue thing that everyone keeps posting.
The donkey?
The donkey?
Yeah, that might start to win some hearts, I think.
Yeah, totally. I haven't had a lot of experience with the Skier, but it looks cool too. But
yeah, that donkey, man. I feel like we need to have an episode about it, like the whole, like just one standalone episode of the $2,000 donkey, which doesn't include shipping. I don't think so.
In Canada, it'd be like $5,000 to get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It looks like the bottom. I don't know if it is, but it looks like the bottom even is curved up on the ends, so you could probably push it across your garage. And
oh yeah, I think I'd hope there'd be some sort of like wheels or something to make it easier to move, because that's a beast.
Yeah. They should just have like a fold down rack to the front of it or something too. Just like it's everything. Do everything with this. All right, man. A lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this. I mean, what would your best advice for them be?
I think in that program I took in college, our motto was adapt and overcome, and I think that's probably the advice that I give most people about most things, and I would probably just use that here as well, is adapt and overcome. That nothing is ever ideal, and you're never perfect, and your session isn't necessarily always going to be perfect, and so giving yourself the grace to be able to say that wasn't it wasn't perfect, or I'm not performing perfectly, or I'm injured, or whatever, but having that sort of, I guess, mental grit to say I'm not going to quit just because I had a bad day or a bad month or whatever, haven't been eating what I need to eat. Just take what you've got right now and adapt and try to do better. I think that's one of the things we get to abandon a bit in our garages, is the whole ego side of things. You're not necessarily just doing bicep concentrations in a mirror and hoping that you're not the smallest looking person in the gym or whatever. We get to abandon all that, get rid of it. I think in our heads to just chucking that out the window and saying nothing's ever ideal. Adapt and overcome, and just try and do better this session than you did last session. So
perfect. All right, Johnny, it's been a blast not only talking to you today, but having you in our community. You're fairly active in there, and I appreciate that, and for being a member of Garage Gym Athlete. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us today and for your time. And
awesome.
Thanks for being around.
Thanks for having me.